What is going on, guys? It is your boy, Matt Talks Films, and I am back, excited, rejuvenated, and full of fulfillment. Man, the 3 out of the 5 times you've seen me on this channel talk about films in 2025, it has been given good praise. Superman, F1, 28 years later, all very good to great films. The other two films I did in 2025 were Oh Hi and Jurassic World Rebirth. Those films, not so great, not so good. But this film I'm about to talk to you today about is Ari Aster's follow up to Beau's Afraid. It is a film created by Ari Aster and his outrageous artistic vision. The film I'm about to talk to you about today is called Eddington. Wow. This is a film that is so great that it's even hard to even fathom how truthful a perspective that Ari Aster has on display for us within this film. Yes, this is a fictional film placed within the real world circumstances that were in 2020. I couldn't be more happy with his fourth film, his fourth feature length film, and I am here to say that this is his best film he's made so far in his career, and that is insane, especially when you consider his filmography. Let me tell you about his filmography if you aren't familiar. Midsummer, a very good film, a great horror movie. I love the movie. Hereditary, maybe my definitive horror movie of the 21st century. It is a film that continues to frighten me, and it absolutely terrified me when I first saw it in theaters. And number three, Beau's Afraid, is one of the most entertaining, artistic, and unique and batshit insane odysseys I've ever seen in film history. And here is his follow up in Eddington. Eddington is set in a small town in New Mexico called Eddington. It follows two characters, one more than the other. Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix. Joe Cross is a sheriff in Eddington. He's been sheriff for the past 7 years, and he succeeds his daddy, who ended up passing away 7 years ago. The other guy is Ted Garcia, played by the very popular now Pedro Pascal, and he is up for re-election for mayor. And the major thing this movie and this film hones in on is the character dynamic and the butting of heads between these two characters and their obvious opposing thinking heads. And I don't want to spoil too much in this video because I don't want to talk too much about this video and end up ruining the film. I want people to actually go see this film for themselves, but I'm going to try to talk about this film as best as I can and as comfortably as I can because it is so great. I generally think not only is this the best film of Ari Aster's career, I think it's the best film definitively of this year. Yes, we've had Sinners. Yes, we've had 28 Years Later. Yes, we had Superman, F1, a plethora of other great movies. And I think 2025 has been a great year. But the films I just talked about and films I absolutely adore, and 28 Years Later and Sinners, two films that are in two of my favorite genres, subgenres of horror, which is vampire and zombies. Those two films cannot hold a candle to what Ari Aster brings to the table with this. Eddington is such an honest look at society within the year 2020. And it is a year that us as Americans hate to revisit and hate to even acknowledge and hate to even go back to. And I don't think America is ready for this film. And I know that's an abrasive way to say things about this film, but I truly believe that. I don't think America is ready for this film. I don't think people are ready to have the feelings that they had inside them from 2020 to be conjured back up with this film, because that's what this film ultimately does. As you're watching this film, you are getting all the feelings that you had during 2020, and you are getting this feelings of anger, angst, anxiety, fear, and ultimate tensity that is propelling through your body as you watch the film, because Ari Aster as a filmmaker is brilliantly bringing that back up for you as a purpose. Like, that is one of the purposes of this film, not only to shine a light on how chaotic and absolutely crazy that year was, but he's also trying to conjure up the feelings that you once so specifically had during the year 2020. 2020 was the peak of COVID, peak of quarantine, peak of the Black Lives Matter movement, peak of one of the peaks of, sadly, police brutality and the huge tragic event surrounding George Floyd. And guess what? Ari Aster doesn't go over any of those. He features all that in his film, and some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see any of that in a movie. I just want to escape from the world." But yeah, that is being talked about in this movie, you are still escaping into the small town of Eddington. You aren't Ari Aster isn't holding your hand during this film and telling you how to feel. You're gonna feel how you feel after this movie, and that's it. He is not forcing you to share his own opinion about that year. He is not giving you a certain opinion about that year. He is just holding up a super reflective mirror on American society during 2020 within this fictional town or real town of Eddington, New Mexico. And I think it's beautifully done. I think the highs of this film are some of the highest of this decade, and I truly think of the 2020s for sure, for certain at least, this is a top two film. It's between this or Oppenheimer for me in the 2020s, and that is insane because of how strong these past 3 years have been. It's been a great 3 years for film. We are getting so many good films, and I think this one is one of the major highlights. And I think once I go see this again, I might be propelled and honestly certain that this is the top film of the 2020s and one of the great films of the decade. Wow. It's so hard to make a modern American film because as a guy who goes to the movies a lot, I kind of get sick of smartphones and seeing all this new age technological stuff in films, social media along with it. But what Ari Aster does is he takes the smartphones and the social media aspects of our real lives and doesn't make it come off as gimmicky. He makes it come off as real as possible. The timelines these characters are scrolling through on these social media apps in this film are so realistic and so scary because it's so true. It's obviously satirical and it's supposed to be comedic, but it's generally how social media timelines are during this day and age and were during 2020. And it's absolutely insane how right he nails social media and smartphones now. Even Joe Cross, who is this old school type of thinking and honestly lacks a lot of thought, is still enamored and infatuated with his phone. Every day he wakes up, he's constantly scrolling through his social media, and somehow these things he sees on his timeline are somewhat propelling the actions within his life, and it's so goddamn good. Obviously, you can get the gist. Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix, ends up trying to run for mayor to butt heads with Ted Garcia because there's a past between them that Joaquin Phoenix, aka Joe Cross, he really wants to get the win over Ted Garcia. And what the subsequent events that follow the beginning events of this movie, which is Joe Cross finally realizing he wants to run for mayor and he wants to go head to head with Ted Garcia, is truly immense. It's truly one of the great theater experiences I've ever had. Some of the most memorable theater experiences, I'll tell you, are these films. Hereditary. I mean, I hate to say it, I went with my mom to go see Hereditary back then. I think it was around 2016, and I started clenching her wrist. Like, I was that scared. Beau was Afraid. I mean, what a film that I experienced in the theaters. La La Land, one of the theater experiences where I legitimately almost levitated off my seat. Oppenheimer, one of the great films I've ever seen in theaters. That's probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, those are the 5 great films I've seen in theaters that I fully remember, and I fully remember the feelings I got watching. This is one of those. Like, I was constantly, on second watch of this film, I was constantly saying to myself, man, in my head, I was constantly saying to myself, whoa, like, I can't believe how great this is, and I can't believe how honest and retrospective this film is being. The poster of this film has a slogan that says hindsight is 2020, and that couldn't be more accurate for what Ari Aster is going for creatively here. He's trying to show the hindsight and highlight the craziness for everyone who might have forgot how crazy it was and how otherworldly everyone in this America we were living in was acting. Whether you're on the right side or wrong side, both sides were acting nuts. Obviously, one side was more right than the other, but both sides were just acting nuts, and a lot of sides were acting completely immoral and completely lacking of their own thought. And that's what he does through several characters in this film. There's 2 characters in the film called Brian and Eric Garcia. Eric Garcia is Ted Garcia's son. And ultimately, those 2 characters are trying to impress a girl. And they're 2 friends who are interested in the same girl, and they're trying to impress a girl. And that girl is very political. She's very politically believing. She believes in the Black Lives Matter movement. She has all these strong thoughts that are her own thoughts. And they are creating, specifically Brian, is creating this Black Lives Matter movement, not on his own accord and not according to his own beliefs, but just to impress this girl. Which is a hilariously truthful part of this film, because during that year, there were so many people who were repeating things from other people without ever considering their own thought. They just wanted to impress someone else, and that's what this film is showcasing through that character and through Eric Garcia, because all the actions we see from those two characters beforehand, before they get involved with this girl and before they start acting out in these protests and these Black Lives Matter movements, are complete opposite to how they really feel. And I think that's just a brilliant showcase of character and writing a character and bringing a whole bunch of honesty and truth to a film that otherwise is more fictional. Yeah, this is a fictional film, but it is so honest and forthright with what happened in 2020. And I couldn't be more impressed, because the past Ari Aster projects have been majorly personal, whether it was Hereditary, whether it was Beau is Afraid. This one is personal, but it isn't personal necessarily to him. It's personal to everyone who experienced American society within that year, 2020. And I think that is so retrospective. I think it's one of the great modern American films I've ever seen. I genuinely, I don't know, man. I love Oppenheimer. I saw that movie about 5 to 6 times in theaters. It was one of the first movies I've seen that much in theaters. And I honestly think Eddington might have more of an important structure over time than Oppenheimer, which is crazy, because Oppenheimer is about a man who created nuclear warfare. This is a film holding the largest mirror to all the audience who go see this film about how crazy 2020 was. And a lot of people are not going to love it. Not a lot of people are going to like it. I thought Beau is Afraid was divisive. No. This is a divisive film. People are going to hate this film. People are going to really love this film. And I honestly think I'm on the right side of history here. I really love this film. I've seen it twice. I'm going to see it one more time this weekend. Maybe twice, because I have nothing else to do besides UFC card tomorrow. But I love this film, and I couldn't be more excited for the discourse that is already happening through 48 hours through the film's release. It is pure exhilarating, all the discourse I'm seeing online and all the hatred and anger I'm seeing about this film, and also super exhilarating to see all the love about this film from some of my favorite movie thinkers. Love it. Some of my favorite movie thinkers hate it. I'm with the movie thinkers. I love it. And that's my thing. Go see this film and form your own opinion. That's why I want to pride myself with on this channel and all my social media accounts referring to film, is the opinions that I'm spewing to you guys and I'm coming with are my own feelings. And I hate when people in my past life tell me, oh, you really love this film and you're listening to other people online. No, I'm not listening to other people online. I see these movies as early as possible so I can conjure up my own feelings and tell you how I really feel. And that's how I feel about this film. I saw this film twice to make sure how I really felt before I even saw anyone else's feelings about the film, before I even went on Twitter to see what the discourse was like. I really love this film, and I think it's a revelation. I think it's one of the great society retrospectives I've ever seen, especially about modern America, because that is a year that not many filmmakers are willing to make a film about, and Ari Aster goes above the line and makes a film about that year and makes it into a very special film that honestly will stand the testament of time. And I think this film right here is in the Oscar lead. We know the Academy is not going to reward 2 other great films that were in the lead before this film came out, Sinners and 28 Years Later, because the Academy doesn't want to acknowledge horror films or subgenre films like zombie or vampire films. That is fine. I get why. This is the lead for the Oscars right now in a lot of categories, specifically Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, and maybe Best Screenplay. I mean, it's just simply put, that's what it is. And I know it's an extremely divisive film right now, and a lot of people are talking about it, a lot of people are angry, or a lot of people are loving it, but this is the type of film that the Academy eats up. The honesty and retrospective about a moment in time where it's such a big year, it's such a huge moment in time that is super hyper intensified due to the brilliant writing of Ari Aster and the brilliant filmmaking of Ari Aster, that it's hard not to be enamored with it, whether you love it or not. And I think this film is truly important and is truly saying something that's not too deep, but just holding the brightest light to what society was like, that the Academy is going to eat it up. And I think the Academy voters and people who participate in those type of things will hopefully eat it up. Joaquin Phoenix, Best Actor. Joker, not one of my favorite movies ever. I think it's a ripoff of Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, whatever you want to say. This is your best performance. Joaquin Phoenix, man. Holy shit. I thought his best performance was in Beau is Afraid before this. This is fucking maybe 5 times the performance. Joaquin Phoenix is one of the only actors in today's age of acting and performing in the world of cinema that truly loses himself within the role, and you can see it. Yes, obviously my brain still knows it's Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. He doesn't look any different than he does in real life, besides having a really cool gray beard and really good gray hair and a cowboy hat. However, he is completely losing himself within this role, and he's completely unrecognizable through the film, not through his face, but through his actions and how he evolves or devolves as a character, and it's truly amazing to watch. And I have to give my flowers to Joaquin Phoenix. If I had to vote right now, halfway through the year, who the best acting performance lead wise was, it's easily Joaquin Phoenix. That man is a fucking revelation, similar to Ari Aster. They are both revelations, and what these two do together in the two films you've seen them in so far is nothing short of greatness, whether it's in execution or performance or in filmmaking. Those two deliver in every way, and Joaquin Phoenix is one of the major bright spots of this film. And yes, this film would probably work without him. However, it wouldn't work as greatly because what he does execution-wise with this film and with his performance truly brings this film to another height, and he's truly the best performance I've seen all year from a male lead actor, and he would be my favorite to win Best Actor. Pedro Pascal, people were saying, are we getting too much of Pedro Pascal? The answer is maybe, but not yet, because he is great in everything I've seen him in this year. Whether the movie was not good, whether the movie was okay, whether it was good, whether it was great like this one, he has been great. His interaction with Joe Cross's character, aka Joaquin Phoenix's character, are some of the major highlights of the year. Forget about the film, the year. Especially the way the film is composed score-wise. These scenes are scored like a modern Western standoff, except for without guns at first. It is the battle of dialogue and conversation these two are having. And that's the way the scenes are composed, and it's brilliant. And Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix are offered a great script and great dialogue, but what these two do to bring that dialogue to life and make it honestly perfect is through their performances and through their execution and through their tremendous talents as performers, and I can't get enough of those two in this movie. They are great. Pedro Pascal absolutely delivers. This is the best cast that Ari Aster has had. I've already gave my flowers to Joaquin Phoenix. I already said how good Pedro Pascal was in this movie. Emma Stone is in this movie, one of the great actresses of the 21st century, one of the best overall actors of the 21st century. She's not in this film as much. I thought she was going to have a much bigger role, but honestly, she's very integral to the film and ultimately to what Joe Cross's character ends up doing, because she plays the wife of Joe Cross. And she is very good in what she's given, and she definitely delivers in what she's given, because that's what she always does. She just delivers. She's one of the best in this. She's one of the best we got, and she proves why in the small role that she's given here. We also have Deidre O'Connell, who plays the crazy mother of Emma Stone, who lives with Joaquin Phoenix even after Emma Stone leaves. And at first I thought she was just going to be this crazy conspiracy theorist who had all these horrible thoughts and horrible intellect, problem thinking. And I thought she was just going to be this comedic character within the film, and she ends up playing a much bigger role. She is great in it. Michael Ward from Top Boy, he's very good. He plays a cop alongside Joe Cross. Luke Grimes plays Guy alongside Joe Cross. He's also a cop. He's very good. He ends up showing his extremely racist tendencies as the film goes on. Everyone delivers. I mean, there isn't a person in this film that doesn't just deliver and execute. Like, there isn't really much recastables going on here. Like, everyone who was in this film was meant to be in this film, and seemingly Ari Aster always brings out the best in the actors that he casts for his films, and that's what a great director does. Similar to Scorsese, similar to the great directors that you are very familiar with, they bring the best out of their actors, and Ari Aster is exactly like them. That's why you see Scorsese and all these great solidified directors praising Ari Aster, because they recognize the greatness that he's bringing to us on the big screen. And Ari Aster is simply one of the great minds we have in film today, and he's proven it over this four span of films. Like, these four span of films are some amongst the great four span films in history for me. Especially me, I'm 23. Like, these four films that he's made over this course of time are some of the most iconic films over the century. Whether you like them, whether you loved them, they are just iconic over the century, and you can't talk about the years of 2016 through 2025 without mentioning Ari Aster's film. So, man, it's great. There's a couple of quotes that stick out to me during this film that kind of showcase what Joe Cross, Joaquin Phoenix's character, is within this movie. Like, there's a quote said from Deidre O'Connell, Emma Stone's character, while Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone are eating breakfast, and there's a quote from Deidre O'Connell who says, "Joe, where is your anger? Do you even have it?" And that is a quote you want to sit with you as the film progresses. That quote is during the start of this movie, but that is the pinnacle of Joe Cross's character. Where is your anger? Do you know how to exacerbate your anger? Do you know how to get rid of your anger properly, like a healthy human being? I'm not going to say whether he knows how to or not. Where is your anger? And if your anger ever comes out, is it going to enter you into this insane descent into hell like it does towards the end? And I think that's an extremely important quote. There's another quote. Joe Cross, he's decided to run for mayor. There's a Black Lives Matter protest. The Black Lives Matter protesters take a knee. Joe Cross goes to his town hall meeting. He's giving this speech, a crazy speech, where he accuses Ted Cruz of sexual assault against his wife many years ago. And he gets done recording the video in front of this small crowd in this Mexican restaurant. He goes to his cameraman, played by Luke Grimes, who's also a cop in this movie. And Luke Grimes asks Joaquin Phoenix's character, "Are you sure you want me to post this?" And he's like, "Shut up, don't make me think." That is another quality to Joe Cross's character. Shut up, don't make me think. This is a guy who just reacts. He doesn't really think. And he's really bad at his job, seemingly. He's really bad at committing crime. And he's really bad at thinking. And he can't really think. He just reacts. And that's one of the major character qualities to him. And I think those two quotes really stand out. There's a plethora of other quotes, but obviously I can't remember them all because I'm not going on my phone to write them down during my movie. And those are the two quotes that immediately stick out to me. This is an enriching tale of honesty and an enriching tale of fictional greatness. Joe Cross and the characters within this film seem so real. I love the aspects that, despite this being a fictional place within the fictional world of cinema, the realism brought through with Ari Aster is great. This film is obviously satirical, but he doesn't go over the line into too satirical, where it's a full-on comedy. The blend that Ari Aster and company sew together to make this film so beautifully sewn together when it comes to the realism and the satirical nature of this film is done perfectly. There's very few films like this within the past decade or so that blends the line of satirical and realism perfectly like this one does. I saw a lot of people saying the ending of this film. When I first watched this film, one of the doubts I had in this film was how chaotic and outright insane the end of this film gets. However, I think the action sequences that unfold during the last 45 minutes or so are maybe the best action sequences of the year. This year has had Mission Impossible and Ballerina, right? Ballerina being a flawed film but having really good action sequences. Mission Impossible being a close to a franchise that's a very flawed film but had two of the greatest action sequences you ever see ever. However, this is the film that had the best filmed action sequence to me. There are some shots in this at the end of this shootout scene in the action sequence where the cameraman of this film is panning the camera as this character is looking in one direction and the other direction, and it's just so beautifully done. Also, Joaquin Phoenix might be the best runner in film right now. I'm talking about actually running. Whenever this dude runs on screen, it is so beautiful to watch. I don't know what the fuck this man has when it comes to running, but it is so beautiful to watch. The ending is so chaotic and so filled with action. You're like, man, is this the right choice? But then you get to the real ending, which is a harrowing ending and a really brutal one. Especially when you see the outcome with Brian's character and the outcome with Joe Cross's character and the outcome with Deidre O'Connell's character, Emma Stone's mom. And you can tell that once Ted Garcia was being puppeted into the political game by this one man, and now since Ted Garcia is out of the mayor race, I'm not going to say how, he is now puppeteering another man who ends up winning the mayor race. And it is something that is brilliantly done, and it closes off these character arcs beautifully. And I think people are saying, oh, the ending is unresolved and it feels too chaotic, and I don't know what that ending was trying to get at. And I think the reason why the ending of this film might feel unresolved and quote unquote unfinished, because what happened in the year 2020 necessarily isn't resolved, and it isn't unfinished. Whatever happened in 2020 amongst us as American people is what has made the years following what it is. Like, the way people act now and the way society is now is repercussions of what happened in 2020 and how people acted during that year. And 2020 is a year that is forever unresolved. It is a year that will forever affect us as Americans, and obviously affect the rest of the world, because the whole world was affected by the coronavirus. And I think that ending is beautiful, and I think that ending is harrowing, and I think it's one of my favorite endings of the year, of the decade. This is one of my favorite films of the decade. I think it might be a top 2 film of the decade for me. I really have to go down the list because this film is unbelievable. And every time you guys are seeing me, now 4 out of the 6 times you've seen me, I've talked about great films, but this is the greatest film of the batch. This is something special. I love this film. I love Ari Aster. Ari Aster is a forever director. Since I saw Hereditary in theaters, is forever a director where I am now going to see his film's opening night, because guess what? He is owed that right. He is a filmmaker that hasn't given me any doubt, and he is a filmmaker that I have massive respect for, and I will forever go see his films on opening night, because he is worth that price of admission every time. And he is a filmmaker that I will see his films more than once, because he is a filmmaker that produces and makes these films that get better on each rewatch. And the same said with this film. I really love this film the first time. I love it even more so on the second watch. This is a film I will go see 3 to 4 times in theaters, because I love supporting creative, brilliant people, and Ari Aster is one of them. Joaquin Phoenix is one of them, and mostly everyone else in this film is one of them. I forgot to talk about Austin Butler. Austin Butler's in this film too. He's really good in the short role as well. But anyway, Eddington, my favorite film of the year, one of my favorites of the decade, and easily top 2 of the 2020s. I'm Matt Talks Films. I'll be back. I'm probably gonna be back with Fantastic Four. If not, you'll see a quick video about me discussing what I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not really excited to go see that movie, but hey, I'm dedicated to this movie shit where I'm gonna go see new movies for y'all and talk about them with y'all. I really wanted to spoil this movie a little bit, but honestly, this is a film that doesn't deserve to be spoiled unless it's with another person and you're bouncing off what you saw in the film with that person. As one person show here, I have to talk about it in a non-spoiler way, and hopefully I did it in a good way. Hopefully you like this video. Follow me on every platform at Matt Talks Films. Like this video, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you've seen this film. Let me know how you liked it. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a good one.